Hi, I'm Neil.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
Welcome
aboard Echo Echo.
Jeanette taking photos as well. So what are you up to?
Well, I'm trying to work out our route down the ICW and trying to work out the mileage that we can do each day, and maybe we're trying to find a place that we could stay, like that's going to be a good anchorage. But I also know that we got to get some work done, so I'm going to have to try and find some marinas, which I'm going to have to maybe Google. It's just a pity that the chart book's pretty good with showing us the route, but it doesn't really give us much information apart from where to go. I do have this anchorage book, which has been helpful to show us some anchorages. Skipper Bob, and I know they have. I think they do have a marina one, but we don't have that one. So we need to sort of find some marinas and things ourselves to get the contract work we need done. And somebody mentioned to me about something called Active Captain that I can use on my iPad. So I'm thinking maybe I might actually Google it, because also we don't know where the hazards are and things to watch out for. And on our way down the first time, we hit the bottom so many times, and a few people have said they've used Active Captain, which has helped them to avoid those tricky areas. So maybe this is something that we need to research, Neil, is actually what is Active Captain. I'm not sure if it's actually a person or if it is actually just a company. What do you think? Shall we look into it?
Why not? Why not? We've got all the time in the world to research these things.
We do, especially on a rainy day like today.
You know, yesterday we were talking about the navigational issues of getting down the ICW and Active Captain.
Yeah?
You won't believe what I've just seen. We're going for a ride. Come on, get your stuff.
What?
Get your
What
stuff.
do you mean we're going for a ride?
Come on, get your stuff.
Okay.
Well, here's a bit of a giggle. Jeanette on a push bike. Must be about the first time in 30 or 40 or, God, maybe 50 years. Look at this. Barry Sheen, she ain't. Push those pedals! Faster! Faster! Rather than the push bikes, we were going to take this car, but we couldn't work out the combinations to the padlocks. Never mind. The sacrifices we made. And I think they're not there.
Okay guys, I finally found you, the Active Captain people. So would you like to maybe introduce your names to everybody?
Sure, I'm Karen Siegel.
And I'm Jeff Siegel.
Okay, great. And maybe you can tell me what Active Captain actually is, because I've heard from some people that Active Captain is something useful that maybe I can use on the boat. And being a newbie to sailing, maybe you can help me out by explaining to me and others what is active captain, and is there actually a person active captain, or what it is?
Yeah, basically, our slogan is sharing the experience, and that's what we try to do. We are a method of capturing local knowledge and sharing it among everyone else who comes into an area that needs local knowledge. So what we found is from our own cruising that guidebooks were outdated the moment they were printed, and that the information was often a little bit tainted toward the advertisers. So we wanted a kind of an open, public, free resource that people could rate their experiences that they had, and share that information with the entire world, so that if you filled out the area that you are very familiar with, then when other people came into your area, they would have real local knowledge. And at the same time, then when you cruise into other areas, you'd have their local knowledge.
But I also think it's key when you cruise into unfamiliar areas, you see those areas differently than someone who's there. So you can present that perspective. So it's all the perspectives of all the different kinds of boaters that makes it powerful.
Good. Apart from me maybe using active captain, who else would you suggest? Is it just the cruisers or the weekenders or people who are in commercial businesses? What type of people do you think should use active captain, or is it helpful for?
I think there are parts of it that are helpful for almost anyone in a boat. I mean, I think the core and the sort of the no-brainer ones are the cruisers, because you're going into unfamiliar places. You don't know what's there. You don't know what the dangers are. So I think that is where the most value is derived. And that's really where we originally designed it, with that in mind. But what we found is even people who were cruising a given area, they didn't realize an anchorage that maybe someone else who cruised in that area knew. So they were sharing, even though they thought that they had all the local knowledge, by combining all these different people, they were getting more knowledge for it. So I think anyone who's cruising, who wants to explore different places, who wants to go just stretch a little bit further than what they're comfortable with and do all the time, active captain makes that easier for them to do.
And we also do collect things like fuel prices, so that let's say you're just on the Chesapeake Bay, in a small area, you know every facility, but you don't want to have to call 15 places to see which place do I want to get fuel. So as a result, by having all of that online, all that available, it actually makes the fuel pricing a little bit more competitive, because everyone knows that, it used to be they used to pull into a marina just then to find out what their fuel price is. And, frankly, by that time, you're not going to leave. So now you get to get the fuel price long before you even show up, and compare, contrast, and also, in other places, we're from Maine, and so, Maine has thousands of anchorages. And, we had our secret ones that we didn't want anyone else to ever know about. So what happens is you end up putting that so the world knows. So now what happens is when people are coming up to Maine for the first time, they can get the knowledge of us living in Maine for 20 years. And even if they're just, from maybe just a little bit in the next bay down, they're going to see the places that we know about that, they're just never had experience with. And it really opens up a whole lot of possibilities for using your boat.
That's really good. And I know even for ourselves, there's been a few places where we wanted to get fuel, and then we've had to sort of hunt out if they actually supply the gasoline or the diesel, or even for propane, like trying to get propane bottles and things.
Right.
Who has what available? So that would be handy to actually have all of that on a website that you can then just check out, so you know to go to the right place rather than the wrong marina, and then they don't have the facilities to cover your needs and things. So good. Okay. Now the next question is, I'm not very IT savvy at all, and I'm very new at this, but what kind of equipment to use active captain would I need to have on a boat? What sort of is the standard type of things you'd need?
Well, today, I mean, there's 50 companies that license our data, so it's not just there's the Active Captain website. You can use a laptop, get on the website, and you can see all the data live. But today, only 20% of our users use it that way. Instead, we've licensed to Garmin and Furuno and CMAP and all these little iPhone apps and Android apps and tablet apps. And so they now bundle the data into their own app, so you can have the data offline without an internet connection anywhere in the world. In the middle of the ocean, you can be searching fuel prices along a coastline anywhere you want. So basically, we run on chart plotters today. Furuno just released Active Captain on their latest chart plotters. There's going to be a lot more of that. In 2016, we're going to be on almost all the different chart plotters in a variety of different ways. Laptops, Macintosh, PC, Linux, there's software on all of those different operating systems. And then the full gamut of Android tablets and phones, iPhone tablets and iPhones. So you can have the entire website, the entire world of marinas and prices and anchorages and hazards and every bridge right on your phone, and look at it when you're at lunch, planning where you're going to go next. So almost every platform has it.
Yeah. Wow, that's excellent. Okay, so what areas? I know that at the moment we're on the east coast of America and we're going down to the Bahamas and Sony. But does it just cover around the US or Active Captain, or is it have a larger coverage than that?
Active Captain is worldwide, and that was really the plan from the start. I mean, we realized if we wanted a wide variety of boaters and third parties to use it, it had to cover the world, because people boat all over the world. And because we are here, we are American, we cruise here. It started here, and so that's where the growth started. Now we're seeing way more data coming in from outside the U.S. today than inside the U.S. And some of that's because the U.S. has gotten such a bulk of data, but it's everywhere in the world.
Yeah, the model works everywhere, and so, like Karen said, we started in the U.S. and definitely because we were there, we were adding some, we were speaking at a lot of venues. More people knew about it, but it's interesting to see, that we're in our 8th year of the product, and so we see that England is about where the U.S. was about 3 to 4 years ago. Australia is maybe 5 years ago. We have plenty of data and bridges and hazards and anchorages through Australia, New Zealand. We have them. We could use more. We could use more people using it. Like this marina here has 130 reviews. In Australia, the marinas there will have a couple of reviews. So it's indicative that the data is primed, the data is ready. It needs more users to kind of use it and take advantage of the capabilities. We know the model is really great. The model, I mean, you've been cruising up and down the East Coast. I mean, it's hard to find someone who doesn't not only know what Active Captain is, but isn't using it to make the decision of where they're going that night.
And adding to it.
Right.
And that's why it's so key, because it's definitely not static. I mean, every day people are adding to it and putting in their experiences and putting in what they found.
Yeah.
And that's why it's just, I hate to say continually up to date, but it's the most up to date thing that we're aware of.
There's some interesting things. Governments are starting to come to us. NOAA, the U.S. NOAA, the ones who make the charts for the U.S., they came to us because they were realizing that our data was better than what the Coast Guard was giving them for shoalings and buoys that have been blown out. And so they now license our data. Every morning there are cartographers that get all the hazards that have been updated the day before, so that the cartographers can look at it, change the charts, or ask for a Coast Guard patrol to go out and look at it. MCGA, which is the UK Coast Guard, is working with us right now to develop the exact same kind of thing. Because what's happening is, it's the power of the community. That the community, all of us are out there. We're the ones that see that piling that's been blown over on its side or hit, and the Coast Guard isn't going to see that, and the chart manufacturers and plotters are definitely not going to see that. So we're the ones that we just needed a reporting system, and so that's what we've kind of provided, is that report that can go then back and it used to be that you used to warn people because of shoaling. Well, now what actually can happen is the shoaling gets reported to the government decides maybe we should dredge there. So the act of actually helping every other boater is correcting the problem.
And the people
really
collecting the data were the ones who are most impacted by the data. So we really care.
Yeah, it's a full loop, and that's what we really wanted. We wanted something that you contribute to the data and you get a whole lot back from it. You get more than just sharing the information. You're getting you're getting the information out. You're affecting marinas. Marinas that now can get feedback of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. They never had that before. People had a bad experience. They just left and never came back. Yeah. Now they know that bathrooms are dirty and you better clean them, or else we're never coming back. Yeah. And all of a sudden the bathrooms get clean. So those kinds of things are really beneficial. That full loop where kind of the love you save is your own. You know, you everything can be reduced to a Beatles or a Dylan saying. And you know, the act of using it actually ends up helping everyone else and ends up helping yourself. That's the objective.
Well, that's sort of then leading into my next question. I think you've partially answered it. Is like, how can cruisers help make active captain better? And I suppose that is by them being involved and reporting
contribute
on a daily
to it.
basis.
You know, I mean, what I say to use is when someone comes up and tells me, oh, you know, you saved my life because you got us past some terrible shoal area, and I'll say, well, you know, make sure you give back. Someone gave that information in. That's why you were able to have a good day. Make sure you're giving information back to the community.
Yeah, the real important things are write reviews. You know, we have existing, every marina in Australia has been put in. Maybe we're missing a couple that would be helpful. Put in new marinas. It's going to be hard to find them today because we have almost every marina that is on the coastline. When you go to that marina, write a review. Tell the marina what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. That will make the marina better. It works. I mean, the level of thing. Look at this marina here. You know, they've added so much in the last couple of years based on the feedback, and the result of that is the marina's filled. So they love it. It's great. It's great for all of us who have all these capabilities. And if you find an anchorage, you know, write the review on it. Say when it's safe. Is the holding really good there? Because the next person may be in an emergency situation where they need to find some place right now. Give them that marker that, you know, they can read the reviews to say, yes, this is a great place to hold in a southeast wind. When you find a hazard, you know, not only update the hazard, put whatever you're finding, but write a comment on it. You know, we only had, you know, 2 meters of water going through. You know, those kinds of things are unbelievably helpful, and they get other people to even use it more.
Okay. So what plans or future plans do both of you have for Active Captain? Where do you see it going forward?
I'm the development person, so what we're doing, we have, Active Captain to this point has been about places. You know, it's been about anchorages and marinas and hazards and what we call local knowledge, boat ramps and bridges. You know, when we collect a bridge, we don't just say the height of it, but if it's a restricted bridge, we keep, you know, it only opens on the hour, or it only opens, it's closed between 8 and 9 a.m. You know, so we keep all the restrictions, all the things that cruisers really care about. I mean, we care about height, but we care about when it opens. So it's been about places. What we're really doing, all the new things are about people. It's about, instead of about what is out of place, it's going to be about who is out of place. So we're going to help know where your friends are. We're going to look at your routes. As you're creating routes, we'll intersect your routes with your friends' routes. That you'll say, you know, these are my 6 friends, these are the clubs that I belong to. And we'll merge those together to say, hey, do you realize in a week and a half, you may be in the same place with these other people that you haven't seen in a couple of years. So it's more about the social aspect of it, getting together, seeing where people are. We have an app right now that tracks where, as you're moving, it tracks where you are. It works with satellite tracking systems, it works with cellular, and so you can see exactly where people are, where they're moving. You know, how many times have you said, "Wow, I wonder where Joe is today? Where's Joe and Mary?" And what we can do today is we can bring it up on their iPhone and we can see where they are. I can see what direction they're moving right now. And not just like AIS, not just like if they're in the area. I can see them if they're in Australia. I can see where they're moving.
Okay.
And if you use satellite tracking, when you go offshore, you can have a dozen people watching you offshore. It's not just you call someone if there's an emergency, but there can be actually. I do it now when friends of mine are going overnight. I'm sitting there at night. I leave the iPhone or the iPad on, and I watch them all overnight. So it's all about the people and feeding more data back in. You know. We'd like to collect depth automatically. Like as you go into an anchorage, we'd like to turn on about a quarter mile from we know the anchorage you're going to.
Yep.
So when you're within a quarter mile of that anchorage, we'll start turning down and collecting the depth. So we'll have your GPS position, we'll have your track where you went in, and we'll be able to show others, either your friends or other people that come into the anchorage, we'll be able to show them a dozen tracks where people went. Because, you know, maybe if you know the area really well, you know that you got to stay, you know, to the red side in this area because there's shoaling over here, there's a rock there. And so now you'll have not only the depths, but you'll have the people's tracks. And because of our influence and our relationships with all the chart plotter manufacturers, the day is going to come when you'll be able to say, I want to follow that track on my chart plotter, and it'll put the track in, it'll even, you know, potentially follow on the autopilot, or just let you follow the line on your chart plotter so that you can really stay where that other person was. That's not science fiction. I mean, these are things that we're working on today. So I mean, it'll take some time to get there, but you know, it'll slowly, you know, more and more people using it will get it there.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's just amazing type of things that I can just imagine for the future, how easy it's going to be. And I know in some places, like we had a bit of an issue at St Mary's trying to get in, because it's very shallow to get into St Mary's boatyard, and playing the tide game sort of thing. And if we ended up touching the ground, whereas if we'd known which side of the bank maybe to stay on, and we got the information after we got there, but it would have been handy to have that on our way in, and then we wouldn't have sort of touched the ground and felt a bit nervous as you're sort of getting in. But that would be really good. And sort of like my last question is, how is Active Captain helpful to marinas? How do you help marinas?
I'll handle that, because I'm the one who deals mainly with the marinas, and I would say that there are Active Captain impacts marinas in two ways, depending on the marina. There are marinas who hate Active Captain because they want to hide. You know, they don't want the light shined on them. But what we found is the good marinas, they want to know what are the customers like. What can they do better? What are they doing well right now? So I think Jeff mentioned before, they read the reviews and they listen to what the boaters say, and they communicate. If there's a problem, they communicate with the boaters. And so we're giving them a mechanism to do that. And I've actually, when we first started this, I had several marinas who came to me and said, you know, for years we send out surveys, follow up with emails asking people, and we could never get information about what are we doing wrong, what are we doing right, where can we improve. And you guys are finally giving that to us. So they have the opportunity to really hear what their customers are saying. And then, like I said, the good ones step up and get better. And that's better for the marinas, that's better for the boaters. There's also, you know, because we have, over the 8 years now, have grown to a place where people do come to us. They come to us to see what's out there. So it allows us, in the right situation, to shine a light onto a marina. And I'll actually let Jeff tell the story about Great Harbor, because you were the one that was very much involved with Hans. But it's things like, you know, we can look at a marina and say, you know, this is a place that's perfect for boaters, that's unknown, that's in danger of going away because they don't have people coming in, and we can help them with that.
Maybe you could share the Great Harbor story. That would be really good.
We take a couple of marinas on every year that come to us and say, we really need help. We want to do the right thing, but we just can't seem to get the exposure. We can't get out there enough. And so you have to be a marina that's actually good, but is missing that. So Great Harbor in the Berry Islands of the Bahamas came to us, and I had seen pictures of what the facilities were and what the island was. It was just a gorgeous place. There was no reason that the marina wasn't filled. But in 2014, the entire winter, they had 4 boats show up. 60 slip marina. 4 boats showed up.
4 boats.
So the manager contacted us, and I worked out with him, and we looked at everything about the facility and looked at the couple reviews they had, looked at the pictures, and he was willing to put some money into the facility to spruce some things up. There were some errors that they didn't work. They didn't have a really good and attractive weekly and monthly rate. You know, no one wants to go to the Bahamas Marina for a day. They want to go for a week. You know, you want to charge up your batteries really well. You want to get water. You want to go to the grocery store. These things take a week, plus going to the beaches, and so we helped them develop the right pricing that was attractive and would bring people in. And then we gave it exposure. So it wasn't just that the marker stayed there, but we helped tell people about it. And by doing that, the marina last year, 2015, was overbooked. I mean, they were filled the winter. They were ecstatic. I mean, they were giggly. You know, they were like, we can't believe it. And then they did it. You know, we went through there. We went there too, and we said to him, you know, we can do that to any marina.
And part of it was, we said, we're going to be here this time. We're going to be giving some talks. We're going to be doing, so people came. That was part of a draw too.
Right. Yeah. But the onus is on you. You've got to make it so that people come back in 2016, because we can't do this again. We can't, you know, do a whole exposure piece on what the Berry Islands is all about. And they took that challenge on, and I knew we would, and that's why we were willing to work with them. And okay, so the result is that they're overbooked for 2016 now. You know, friends of ours are just here. They were able to squeeze in a reservation, but they can't take other boats. They're filled, which is the way it should be. They're a really great marina. They provide unbelievable capabilities. And what's really nice, you know, we went there for 2 months. So all of a sudden, you know, the market is now, there's 100 people extra there. And cruisers tend to buy food, you know. So the market's making more money because all these boaters are going there and staying, you know, and buying things and buying supplies. And so the school started making money. The school did a little banquet for all the boaters at the marina, and they made money from that and bought laptops. So these economic development things happen. We don't realize as cruisers the power that we have in pure economic development. Our dollars come from away and come into a new community, and those are very powerful dollars, and they notice them right away. So, you know, you spend money in an island, that money gets spent 50 times. You know.
I mean, we actually had people from the community who came into the marina and thanked the boaters, you know, for coming, which, you know, really helped, was part of the charm, because you felt so welcome and you felt like you were helping out this community. You know, you also didn't mention the school had this little craft store that it would be open a few days, and the cruisers would go in and buy crafts because the money went for the children. And it was just, you know, so many times I think tourists, you pass through, you know, you're a tourist and you just sort of pass through, you felt a part of it. You felt a part of the community just for the time you were there.
Wow, that's such an inspiring story, and it's so nice to hear that that as a cruiser that we are actually able to do something, that we can actually help people, you know, communities in the Bahamas and things like that. Because you're right, we do cruise past and we do buy a lot of food and things, and we don't realise that maybe that is actually really helpful to their community if we actually stop and stay there a bit longer, and some of the places in the Bahamas are suffering a bit. So
well, especially now after the hurricane, there's a lot of places that are suffering.
Yeah, it's basic economic development. It starts though with the facility willing to step up and not hide from the things they do wrong, and maybe spend a little bit of money. And the result is they're more profitable because of it, which is exactly the way it should be.
And then it's better for the boaters, and the cycle just keeps going. It's great.
Well, thank you guys. It's time now. I know that you're actually going to do a presentation, so and there's people all coming in the background.
They are.
And but I really appreciate that you've spent the time with me to get to know what Active Captain actually is. And I'm going to go back on my boat and actually investigate more about it, and especially that app that you were talking about, where I can see where other boaters are and things like that. The locations. Yeah, I'm really interested in that.
It's free. Everything's free. There's no cost for anything.
Well, that's a bonus. Everything's free. There's not many things you get these days that are free. So, but I really appreciate it. Thank you to both of you.
Thank you very much.